Nietzsche has a very wide breadth of influence and of things that he talks about, but we're just going to focus on one item here. We're going to focus on his concept of the Overman. And what we're going to do with that is we're going to try and get it all in one chart. And we're going to start with the idea that Nietzsche looks at man as having a wide breadth of behaviors. But the creative life he tends to see as being on the edges of those of that man's sense of behaviors. And so what happened is when gods and specifically Christianity came along, and then Socrates came along and then also Descartes with this idea of the of our rational world and the kind of advantage of the rationality. And then we came along with concepts of democracy or crowd decisions. And the whole idea is Nietzsche feels that what they're doing is they're actually trying to take this whole set of man's behaviors and pin it down and make it into what he considers to be too shallow of a solution for man and especially for the creative life. The other thing is that, with the death of God, right, then all of a sudden, all of these things that were considered values, such as faith, hope, love, grace, joy, justice, peace, and service, he doesn't see them as being really valuable values if you associate them with the creative life. So that's kind of the third issue. And so then the idea is, what is he looking for? And so he's saying, let's take the Apollonian and the Dionysian, which he thinks these are the characteristics and the attributes of humans. And he says that the Apollonian and the Dionysian, the Apollonian emphasizes certain things, such as order, sculpture, creation, sobriety, chastity, individualization, wholeness, sanity. I mean, these are all the things that he talks about that are related to the Apollonian, pattern and meaning. The Dionysian, on the other hand, Nietzsche says, is chaos, music, destruction, intoxication, sexual license, group mentality, mob, loss of individuality. Now, both of these, the Apollonian and Dionysian, he believes are in all of us. And so the question is how we balance them. And then what we use to balance them. And he doesn't see any of those other values that we talked about earlier as being capable of balancing those. Instead, he sees that the values are honesty, moral courage, generosity, politeness, intellectual integrity, and reevaluation. These are the values that he sees as the Overman. And he says these values also, you don't look at values as if you're either honest or dishonest, that values are actually along a spectrum. And so he doesn't try to pin it down to just one thing. What I'd like to do is take a second here and also talk about how this compares to the current concept of exceptionalism. Because if this is the Overman, then these are the values: honesty, moral courage, generosity, politeness, intellectual integrity, and reevaluation. It doesn't really seem to fit with this concept that we hear about exceptionalism. Because exceptionalism seems to me to be more focused on things like privilege, entitlement, wealth, and they're not really character issues. It's just how the person is in the world. And so American exceptionalism and sapiens exceptionalism, all those things are not really a good fit in my mind for what Nietzsche talks about when he talks about the Overman. So I think there's a lot of writers who put a lot of people into Nietzsche's pattern of the Overman and the Superman, and I think that they really have it's a misguided way that they've done it, because they haven't focused on the real values that Nietzsche talks about. So that's what I think I consider important. Thank you.